Have you ever wondered if there's more to Psalm 23 than meets the eye? The beloved psalm is often recited during times of struggle, offering comfort and hope. But what if I told you that Psalm 23 holds a deeper, transformative secret, a power that can completely change the way you live? Many read it as just a comforting prayer, but in reality, it's a blueprint for living a life of abundance, trust, and divine restoration. This isn't just about asking for help during tough times. It's about unlocking a constant flow of blessings and peace that can transform your daily existence. Imagine experiencing God's presence in a way that makes you fearless, where His provision is so abundant that it overflows into every area of your life. What if you could tap into that kind of peace, no matter the storms around you? The secret is hidden within the words of Psalm 23. And today, I'll reveal how you can access it. Let's dive into the life-changing power of this sacred passage and see how it can bring profound transformation to your walk with God. Psalm 23 isn't just a verse to recite in times of trouble. It's a blueprint for a life filled with divine empowerment and peace. Think about this. When life throws challenges your way, the natural reaction is to panic or feel lost. Psalm 23, however, gently reminds you that you're never alone. Just as a well-lit path provides safety on a dark night, these words light your way, revealing that God's provision is constant. It's more than comfort. It's your spiritual navigation system. Imagine starting your day with the certainty that your needs are already covered. Psalm 23 presents a radical concept. God, the creator of heaven and earth, personally cares about your well-being. Instead of merely hoping for good outcomes, embrace this truth. Picture a shepherd guiding his sheep. The sheep aren't worried about tomorrow's pasture because they trust the shepherd. When you grasp this reality, worry loses its grip on you. This psalm teaches you to live beyond mere survival. Many people stumble through life just getting by, but look closely. He makes me lie down in green pastures. Green pastures represent abundance, not scarcity. You aren't meant to scrape for blessings, you're designed to flourish in them. The secret is learning to rest in God's timing and trusting that your life, like a well-watered garden, will bloom at the right moment. It's tempting to think peace comes from a lack of problems, but true peace comes from knowing who walks with you. Beside still waters isn't about finding perfect circumstances. It's about having serenity even when the storm rages. Try this. The next time anxiety grips you, pause, breathe deeply, and reflect on these words. Picture God's hand guiding you to a calm place in your soul, where His presence washes away every fear. If life feels chaotic, Psalm 23 offers a roadmap to renewal. In a world driven by constant hustle, rest becomes revolutionary. Renewal isn't just physical, it's spiritual. God restores my soul. That restoration is like upgrading from a cracked, outdated phone to the latest model. What areas of your life need upgrading? This psalm urges you to unplug from worry and plug into divine refreshment. Success often comes with burnout, but Psalm 23's secret lies in sustainable strength. The modern world praises relentless ambition, but David's words teach a different kind of power, strength that flows from a surrendered heart. When God leads, you can run without weariness. It's like walking on a path where the ground rises to meet your steps. Effort becomes joy, and striving transforms into trust. Psalm 23 leaves us with a tantalizing invitation. What if life's abundance is closer than we think? The concept of green pastures and still waters isn't a distant dream, but a daily reality waiting for those who align with God's provision. As you ponder this, a deeper question emerges. What could change if you fully believed God's blessings were already yours? The next topic reveals how to harness the active presence of God in every moment. When David declared, "The Lord is my shepherd," he wasn't offering a poetic metaphor. He was proclaiming a life-altering truth. God's presence is not distant or passive. It's deeply personal and fully active. Imagine a shepherd walking ahead of his flock, guiding with purpose and care. That's how God moves in your life. Not as a spectator, but as a leader deeply invested in every step you take. Think about the daily grind, deadlines, worries, and an endless to-do list. In the rush, it's easy to forget that God walks beside you, involved in even the smallest details. Picture a weary traveler carrying a heavy load, only to realize someone strong and compassionate is walking next to him, ready to help. God's active presence means you're never meant to carry life's burdens alone. Let Him share the weight. The words, "He makes me lie down," illustrate God's gentle, guiding hand. This is no forceful push, but a loving invitation to rest. Imagine being pulled from a stormy sea into a lifeboat. The chaos might still rage outside, but inside, you are safe. God's presence offers exactly that, shelter and calm amid life's tempests. When was the last time you paused to feel His nearness instead of chasing answers? Modern life thrives on independence, yet Psalm 23 teaches dependence on the divine. Society tells you that success comes from grinding harder, but God's presence brings a different kind of power. The strength found in surrender. It's like using a compass instead of guessing your way. Why wander when the shepherd already knows the best path? Real security lies in following, not striving. David's words show that God's care is both protective and proactive. Your rod and staff, they comfort me. The rod wards off threats, the staff pulls you back from danger. Think of a GPS rerouting you when you stray from your destination. God's presence does the same. Trusting in this active guidance means fewer dead ends and more purposeful progress in life. Imagine living with a constant awareness that God is actively involved in your journey. When your plans fall apart, it's not a sign of abandonment, it's divine redirection. Even setbacks become stepping stones when you recognize God's hand at work. The next time disappointment strikes, ask yourself, how is God shepherding me through this moment? Trust opens your eyes to see His fingerprints on everything. If God's presence is this powerful, what stops us from fully embracing it? Often it's a matter of perception. We look for grand miracles, but miss the quiet, steady guidance. The next section explores how rest and spiritual renewal bring His provision into focus. Imagine trading exhaustion for peace and clarity. That's where we're headed. Rest isn't a luxury, it's a spiritual necessity woven into Psalm 23's fabric. When David writes, "He makes me lie down in green pastures," it's not just poetic imagery, it's an invitation to deep, restorative rest. Imagine a marathon runner who collapses after miles of relentless effort. God, as your shepherd, gently places you in lush fields of peace, where your soul can breathe and recover. Spiritual renewal comes when we pause long enough to feel God's presence. Many live life as if running on fumes, believing rest is wasted time. Picture someone recharging their phone, but ignoring their own need to recharge spiritually. Psalm 23 reminds us that God's provision includes rest, not as an option, but as a gift we must accept. The secret? Slow down and surrender your stress to Him. Imagine resting without guilt, fully trusting that God is handling what you can't. We often resist rest because it feels unproductive, but green pastures symbolize abundance. Rest positions us to receive. Think about a farmer waiting patiently for rain. He knows growth happens unseen. When we rest, we trust that God is working behind the scenes to bring blessings we couldn't manufacture on our own. The world's hustle culture drives burnout, but God's rhythm restores. Psalm 23 shows a pace of life that flows with divine timing. Picture two rivers, one rushing violently, the other flowing smoothly. Which nourishes more? The still, quiet one. Living in God's rest means moving with intention, not exhaustion. It's not just about taking naps, it's about trusting His timing instead of forcing outcomes. Rest transforms, but renewal equips you for what's ahead. When God restores your soul, it's like filling an empty cup to overflow. Consider a car battery. When it's drained, nothing works, but once charged, it powers the entire vehicle. Spiritual renewal through Psalm 23 fills you with divine strength, purpose, and clarity. What areas of your life need that recharge? Identify them and let God renew them. Restful trust leads to powerful faith. Sheep in a green pasture don't anxiously glance around for predators. They know the shepherd is watching. Resting in God's care shifts your focus from fear to faith. When was the last time you trusted God to handle what keeps you awake at night? Hand it over and discover the peace that comes with true spiritual renewal. Rest isn't a pause. It's preparation. Psalm 23's rhythm of rest sets the stage for ongoing restoration, a process we'll explore in the next section. As your soul finds refreshment in His care, you're ready to step into transformation. Are you ready to experience not just healing, but complete renewal? Let's uncover how God's restoration shapes your life's purpose. God's work in us is not a one-time event. It's an ongoing masterpiece of restoration. When David proclaims, "He restores my soul," it's a promise of continuous renewal. Imagine an artist refining a beautiful sculpture, chiseling away imperfections to reveal the masterpiece within. That's what God does with our hearts, shaping us through His love and leading us toward His perfect will, piece by piece. Think about the wounds and disappointments life inflicts. Many try to mask their pain, hoping time will heal it. But God's restoration isn't about covering up cracks. It's about transformation from the inside out. Picture a broken vessel restored by a master craftsman, its cracks filled with gold. God's grace fills the broken places in our lives, turning scars into stories of His glory. Transformation begins where human effort ends. When we reach the limit of our strength, God steps in. Imagine climbing a mountain and finding a guide waiting to lead you to the summit. He doesn't just heal wounds, He turns setbacks into stepping stones for His purpose. The secret? Trusting that every detour and delay is part of His restoration plan. God's restoration brings alignment with His will, a process that requires surrender. Think about a river carving its path over time. The flow seems gentle, but it shapes everything in its way. God's hand in your life works similarly, slowly but powerfully molding you. The process might be uncomfortable, but the result is a life aligned with His divine purpose. Are you letting Him lead? Restoration requires patience, but the results are eternal. Imagine a gardener tending to a barren field. It may look desolate now, but beneath the soil, roots are growing. Every moment of trust, prayer, and obedience cultivates fruit you can't yet see. God's restoration isn't rushed, it's deliberate. Stay rooted in His promises, knowing that your harvest will come in due time. Even the darkest seasons serve God's restoration. Psalm 23 promises His presence, even in the valley of the shadow of death. Think about gold refined by fire. Intense heat is required to purify it. God uses life's valleys to refine your faith and deepen your dependence on Him. No season is wasted when you trust the shepherd's purpose. If restoration is ongoing, how can we recognize it in daily life? It starts with noticing the small victories, a healed relationship, a renewed sense of purpose, or peace after a storm. Restoration is God's invitation to live with hope and expectation. Next, we'll explore how this trust carries us through the valleys. Are you ready to walk with confidence, even in life's shadows? Life's valleys are inevitable, but Psalm 23 reminds us they're never walked alone. Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. This isn't denial of danger, it's defiance against fear. Picture a hiker navigating a dark, narrow path with a strong guide holding a lantern. God's presence is that guiding light, steadying your steps when the way ahead feels uncertain. Fear thrives in isolation, but trust grows in companionship. God's rod and staff symbolize protection and guidance. Imagine a child holding their parent's hand during a thunderstorm. The storm still rages, but the child's security comes from knowing they're not alone. In the same way, God's presence brings comfort that silences fear, even when life's storms seem relentless. Trust in the valley shifts your focus from problems to promises. Many people fixate on the shadows, forgetting that shadows only exist where there is light. The next time anxiety grips you, remind yourself, if there's a shadow, the light of God is near. Turn toward it. Prayer becomes your compass, aligning your heart with His promises of deliverance and peace. The valley is often where spiritual strength is forged. Consider a sword being tempered in fire. The heat strengthens it, not weakens it. Likewise, God uses trials to refine your faith. Instead of asking, "Why me?" ask, "How is God growing me?" Each challenge becomes an opportunity to deepen trust and lean into His sovereign care. God's protection doesn't always remove the valley, but it transforms how we walk through it. Picture a soldier equipped with armor. Danger may still surround him, but he's prepared. Prayer and God's word are your armor. Memorize verses like Psalm 27 verse 1. "The Lord is my light and my salvation, whom shall I fear?" To fortify your spirit in times of trouble. Victory in the valley comes from walking, not stopping. David didn't say, "I stay in the valley, but I walk through it." Movement, even small steps, is key. When grief, fear, or despair try to paralyze you, remember, forward is the direction of faith. Keep praying, keep trusting, keep walking. God is leading you toward brighter days? What if the valley holds unexpected treasures? Valleys are often where water flows and fertile ground flourishes. Even seasons of hardship carry seeds of growth. As we explore the next topic, abundance and blessings, think about this. Could your deepest trials be preparing you for your greatest harvest? Let's find out. God's provision exceeds mere survival. It's overflowing abundance. Psalm 23:5 paints a vivid picture. My cup overflows. Imagine filling a glass of water only to watch it spill over the brim, more than enough to quench your thirst. That's how God blesses his children, with more grace, peace, and joy than we can contain, spilling into the lives of those around us. Abundance is not about material wealth, but the richness of God's presence. Picture someone holding a feast while others sit at an empty table. True abundance comes when God prepares the table, feeding your spirit with love, wisdom, and strength. Think about times you felt his peace when everything else was chaotic. That's a blessing no money can buy. Blessings aren't just for personal enjoyment, they're meant to overflow to others. God fills your life so you can pour into someone else's. Imagine a fountain cascading water from one tear to the next. When God blesses you with encouragement, offer it to a friend. If he gives you peace, spread it by offering calm to those in turmoil. His blessings multiply when shared. Overflowing blessings begin with a mindset of gratitude. Think of a child delighted with a simple gift, appreciating its value. Gratitude turns small blessings into great ones. Start your day listing 3 things you're thankful for, even the little ones. This simple act shifts your heart toward God's abundance instead of life's shortages. Your cup overflows when you trust God's timing and provision. Impatience often blinds us to blessings already given. Imagine baking bread. If you rush, it won't rise properly. God's blessings arrive at the perfect time. Trust that your prayers are seeds planted in fertile soil, growing beneath the surface. Keep praying and believing, even when results aren't immediate. Abundance flows when faith replaces fear. Scarcity thinking says, "I'll never have enough," but faith declares, "The Lord is my provider." The next time fear of lack creeps in, proclaim God's promise. My God will meet all your needs according to the riches of his glory. Philippians 4:19. Abundance isn't about having more, it's trusting that God is enough. Every blessing points back to the giver. Psalm 23's overflowing cup leads to the final revelation of God's unfailing goodness and mercy. What if your greatest blessings are a reflection of his relentless love? The next section reveals how his goodness follows us, transforming our lives daily. Are you ready to embrace it? Let's dive in. Psalm 23 assures us that God's goodness and mercy are constant companions. David declares, "Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life." Picture loyal friends who never leave your side, walking with you through every joy and trial. This isn't fleeting kindness. It's a relentless pursuit of your heart by God's unfailing love. Goodness is God's provision, and mercy is his forgiveness, offered daily. Imagine waking up every morning to find a basket filled with fresh bread at your door. That's how God delivers new mercies each day. Lamentations 3:22-23. No matter yesterday's failures, his mercy resets with the sunrise. Lean into it and let it renew your spirit. Mercy transforms mistakes into milestones of grace. Have you ever felt defined by past failures? God's mercy rewrites your story. Picture a painter transforming a smudged canvas into a masterpiece. The flaw becomes part of the beauty. God's mercy works like that, turning brokenness into testimonies of redemption. Are you ready to let him transform your life? God's goodness meets us in ways we often overlook. Think about unexpected moments of joy, a kind word, a beautiful sunset, or a prayer answered quietly. These are glimpses of his goodness chasing after us. Start noticing them, and you'll realize his presence has been closer than you thought. Awareness is the gateway to gratitude. Mercy isn't just what God gives, it's how we're called to live. Imagine a river that never runs dry. God's mercy flows into us so we can extend it to others. When someone wrongs you, remember how freely God forgives. Choose mercy over resentment. By showing grace, you reflect the shepherd's heart to a world hungry for compassion. God's goodness provides protection, and his mercy offers restoration. Like a shepherd warding off wolves while tending to injured sheep, God shields and heals simultaneously. Trusting in His goodness means resting in His protection. Have you noticed how He's carried you through dangers unseen? Reflect on those moments and let your faith deepen. The pursuit of goodness and mercy leads to eternal promises. Psalm 23 doesn't end with just following blessings. It crescendos into dwelling in the house of the Lord forever. This eternal promise will carry us into the next exploration, living in divine abundance, where trust becomes a lifestyle of fearless generosity. Are you ready to live fully in God's provision? Psalm 23 teaches us to embrace a mindset of abundance, not scarcity. David's declaration of an overflowing cup is an invitation to live with the expectation that God will provide all we need and more. Imagine living with a sense of limitless possibility. That's the heart of divine abundance. When you trust in God's provision, you stop fearing lack and start living in gratitude for what He's already given. Abundance isn't just material. It's about peace, purpose, and presence. Picture a person with everything they could desire, yet still feeling empty inside. True abundance comes when we align our lives with God's will. It's about knowing you are loved, called, and equipped for greater things. When you rest in His purpose for you, everything else falls into place. Relationships, work, health. Living in divine abundance requires a shift from striving to trusting. Many chase after worldly success, believing that happiness and fulfillment are just out of reach. But Psalm 23 reminds us that God is our shepherd, leading us to peace and provision. Think of a tree that doesn't need to hustle to grow. It simply receives nourishment from the soil. When we trust God, He provides what we need without us having to force it. Divine abundance isn't about hoarding, it's about sharing. God blesses us so we can be a blessing. Think about a river that flows, giving life to everything it touches. If we hoard the abundance God gives us, whether it's love, resources, or wisdom, we miss out on the joy of sharing. God wants to overflow in your life, but He also wants you to pass that overflow along to others. Living in abundance means you are free from the fear of lack. When you know God is your provider, you stop worrying about what you don't have. Picture someone with a full pantry. They no longer worry about future meals because they know their needs are met. Divine abundance is living with the confidence that God will always provide what you need at the right time. Abundance flows when you cultivate a spirit of generosity. Imagine living each day with the question, how can I bless someone today? That's the mindset of divine abundance. Generosity isn't just about money, it's about giving your time, kindness, and wisdom. As you pour into others, God fills your life with even more blessings. His cycle of provision never ends. To live in divine abundance is to live fully in God's promises. Psalm 23 shows us that abundance comes when we trust God's timing and provision. Are you ready to experience a life where faith leads to overflow in every area? Divine abundance is available to you, but it requires your heart to align with God's. Let's step into that abundant life together. So, are you ready to embrace the transformative power of Psalm 23? The abundance, peace, and restoration that come from trusting in God's constant presence are available to you right now. As you apply these truths to your life, watch how your perspective shifts. From scarcity to abundance, from fear to trust, and from despair to divine peace. Reflect on the lessons shared. How can you step into God's promise of overflowing blessings today? Is there an area of your life where you can trust Him more deeply? Start small. Pray with intention, trust with confidence, and live with a heart open to receiving His goodness and mercy. If you're ready to continue this journey of discovering more divine truths, make sure to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. There's so much more to learn, and I don't want you to miss out on the next life-changing insights. Keep walking in faith, and remember, God's abundance is never far away. You just need to recognize it.